Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on the Decision Desk HQ YouTube channel. I'm Liberty Vitter, the Senior Data Scientist here at DDHQ. So for this week's 2024 General Election Analysis video, we're giving you an updated look at what a potential 2024 Electoral College map could look like based upon the latest Decision Desk HQ and the Hills polling average. So for comparison and more detailed breakdowns, you can check out our previous video on our channel page. And don't forget to visit elections2024.thehill.com for the most current data. And you'll find it as the very first link in the description of this video below. So remember, a state needs a minimum of at least 5 qualifying polls for a polling average. As of recording this update, we've got new numbers for 12 key states: California, Nevada, Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, New Hampshire, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. There was no way I was going to remember all those. These are the states that we're diving into today. The rest of the states have already been filled in based upon the 2020 presidential election results. So as you can see here, with these 12 states made blank for now, Democrats lead Republicans 174 to 166 in the electoral count. And of course, remember that there are 270 electoral votes required to win the presidential election. So let's jump right into these states that we do have numbers on. So in California, our updated polling average now shows Biden leading Trump by 18.7%, with Biden at 54.2% and Trump at 35.5% based upon 13 polls. Not a shocker. This is a slight decrease from Biden's previous lead of 19.1%. Interesting. And that means that California and its 54 electoral votes, the most of any state, will obviously remain in the most solidly blue column and provide a major boost to Democrats' electoral count. Again, not surprising. Moving to the east in Nevada, more interesting, a battleground in 2024, Democrats won it by just 2.5 points in both the 2016 and the 2020 elections. Republicans have been targeting Nevada over the last decade as a potential flip due to the favorable demographics for the party, especially post-COVID, and the fact that it shifted nearly 5 points to the right relative to the nation since 2012, the fifth strongest shift towards Republicans of any state Democrats won both in 2016 and 2020. The GOP flipped the governor's office in 2022 and came less than a point from unseating a relatively popular Democratic incumbent, Catherine Cortez Masto, in those midterms as well. As for our DDHQ polling average, we see a shift against Trump and in favor of Biden, small one. Previously, Trump led by 4.6%. Now our updated average based upon 15 polls shows Trump leading by 3.2%, with Trump at 47.3 and Biden at 44.1. Nevada's status remains as a lean Republican state, though, for now. Just to the southeast of Nevada, we have another battleground in Arizona, which Biden carried in 2020 by only 0.3%. Trump's lead has remained at 6.8% as there have been no new polls added to the averages since our last update. Arizona remains in the lean Republican column as well. So shifting over to the Midwest, Iowa and Ohio, previously battlegrounds, now strongholds for Trump. They continue to lean heavily in his favor. In Iowa, Trump's lead has been increased by exactly 1 point, up to 10.9% based upon 7 polls. And in Ohio, the average here also ticked up, albeit by a slightly smaller margin, going from Trump plus 10.4 to Trump plus 10.7 based upon 6 polls. Both states remain likely Republican. The other 2 states we can look at in tandem with each other, Michigan and Wisconsin, both went to Trump by less than a point in 2016 and then flipped back in favor of Biden by very narrow margins in 2020. In fact, Wisconsin and Michigan have voted for the same candidate as one another in each of the last 8 presidential elections, so since 1988. Prior to 2016, they had voted Democrat in every one of those elections, but as Republicans have made gains among white working class voters in the Midwest, they've become a lot more friendly to GOP presidential candidates, namely Trump, over the last decade. They'll once again be critical battlegrounds in 2024. And while Wisconsin's average has remained at Trump plus 0.7, the state of Michigan has witnessed the largest shift of any state since our last video. Previously, Trump led by 6.9%. Our updated average shows a narrow lead of 3.1% based upon 21 polls. They'll both keep the same ratings, though, Michigan at a lean Republican and Wisconsin at a tilt Republican. So 5 more states remain with 79 electoral votes up for grabs, in case you were counting. The race to 270 is very close now, with Republicans taking a 231 to 228 lead for now as we head to New Hampshire, where Biden was victorious by 7.5 points in 2020. Clinton famously won this state in a New England blue haystack state in 2016 by just 0.3% and a raw margin of less than 3,000 votes. It hasn't voted Republican since 2000, but it's consistently much closer in margin than other states in the Northeast. New Hampshire continues to lean Democrat, with Biden's lead now at 6.2% based upon 8 polls, a slight increase from this previous 5-point lead. So now we go down to Virginia. Biden carried its 13 electoral votes by just over 10 points in 2020, the largest margin for a Democrat in this formerly reliable Republican state since 1944. Democrats have now won 4 straight presidential elections in Virginia, both of the last 2 by at least 5 points, even given its governor. So Biden leads in the Commonwealth have decreased slightly to 4.1% from 4.9% based upon 10 polls, but the state remains in the lean Democrat category. North Carolina is next, a perennial purple state that has consistently backed Republicans by narrow margins in recent election cycles. Trump won by 3.5 points in 2016 and 1.5 points in 2020. It's a state that Republicans will absolutely need to hold in 2024 if they're going to take back the White House. And as of now, Trump does hold a strong 8-point advantage in our polling average based upon 12 polls surveying this context. That's the same as the last video. So it's likely to stay likely Republican. Georgia and Florida remain, and while they border each other in the South, they honestly couldn't be more different, electorally speaking. While Georgia has shifted 7.5 points towards Democrats compared to the nation at large since 2012, the 5th of most any state, Florida has shifted 4.7 points to the right, the 16th strongest Republican shift. Biden won Georgia by 0.2% in 2020, the first time it voted for a Democratic president since 1992. Trump won Florida, meanwhile, by 3.4%, making it one of just 8 states to vote for Trump by a larger margin in the 2020 election than in the 2016 election. Taking a look at the latest Decision Desk HQ polling averages in Georgia and Florida, while Trump's 9.1 point lead has remained static in Florida, in Georgia, Trump is now ahead by 7.6% based upon 16 polls compared to 6% in the last video. Georgia will therefore join Florida in the likely Republican column. So that wraps up these race ratings based on the DDHQ/The Hill polling averages, which you can check out at elections2024.thehill.com. Republicans continue to lead in the race to 270 with 293 electoral votes to Democrats 245, taking into account 2020 election results for the states we don't have. Feel free to leave your thoughts, comments, and reactions in the comments below. And that is all for the Decision Desk HQ video today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you did indeed like this, and subscribe to the channel below if you haven't already. Also, check out more content from our channel here, and we will catch you next time.